Am I audible, everyone? Okay. Very good afternoon, everyone. Before starting today's webinar, I would like to give my introduction. I'm Dr. Khushbu Shah, working as a clinical therapist at BITS Institute of Physiotherapy from past 8 months. I am the moderator for today's webinar. Today's webinar is on assessment scales and tools for ergonomics. The speaker for today's webinar is Dr. Dharmesh Contractor, sir. He is a professional physiotherapist and ergonomist. He has 14 years of clinical experience. As an ergonomist, he had been trained under the director of International Ergonomic School by Daniel Colombiana from Milan, Italy, who is a revised founder of NIOSH lifting equation in 2010. He is a registered life member of Indian Society of Ergonomics, that is MISE. He had worked with many multinational companies throughout India as an ergonomist. He has profound knowledge of ergonomics which can be helpful to patients in day-to-day life. He is associated with the company Human Scale, which deals with the products used in workstation setup. He is the owner of OPSIS Care, a rehabilitation center located in Vadodara, Gujarat from past 8 years. Presently, he is working as a clinical therapist at BITS Institute of Physiotherapy. Today's webinar will give you an insight on the assessment scales and tools for ergonomics. After the end of this session, we are going to have the question answer round. So I request all the participants, if you have any doubt, you can write your questions in a chat box. After completing the question answer round, we are going to have the quiz session. So the sir is going to share a link so you can play the quiz online after the question answer round. So I request all the participants to please stay online till the quiz session. And I request all the participants to please turn off their microphone and video to let the webinar go smoothly. Now, I welcome today's speaker, Dr. Dharmesh Contractor, sir. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you, ma'am. And good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Kushu, ma'am, for a nice introduction. Okay, so I will. Today is the second part of the ergonomic scales and the tools which we use for the ergonomic assessment. Okay, so today is the second part. Yesterday it was first part. Okay, so I think most of you have yesterday has attended the first part. So today I'll be taking a second part. Okay, so we'll continue. Like, what is the ergonomic assessment? Okay, so ergonomic assessment principles are used to improve the fit between the worker and the workplace. Okay, as I told you, like ergonomic, it deals with the three aspects: worker, work, and the environment. Okay, so assessment has to be taken care of all these three factors. By using an ergonomic chair, mouse, and keyboards, increase the productivity and health of employees. Okay, as well as it will indirectly increase the return ROI of the institution or organization. So when to use an ergonomic assessment? So there are some criteria like if anyone is having any problem regarding any pain or ache, so he will definitely complain that pain and ache to his supervisor or to the manager. Okay. So and second part, whether there any external gadgets which he or she is using in his office, like chair is not comfortable during work hour, or if the mouse is misplacing from his external devices, or something or other problem which hampers his work style, so that he need to complain or he need to raise a request regarding the replacement of that particular thing. And so this part and some or the other, the worker or the employee will have the pain or aches on his or her body part. So he need to complain or he need to place a request regarding the ergonomic assessment. So there where the ergonomic assessment comes into picture. So an ergonomic assessment will be done to the particular person, okay, whether he or she is definitely having pain or aches on the body part, or whether it is due to some external gadgets which are missing in her workplace environment. Okay, so that the ergonomics comes into picture. So coming to the ergonomic assessment, like what are the benefits of doing an ergonomic assessment? It helps in identifying risk in the workplace and prevents resultant injury and illness. Okay, it recognizes worker at risk of injury, prevent weakness and inefficiencies caused by poor posture and work practices. Okay, and lastly, provide confidence regarding work procedure and ergonomic principles. Okay, and in turn, it will benefit to the organization by having a healthy employee working in his institution. So these are some basic benefits which an ergonomics assessment can be implemented. Now, what are some postures? Okay, seen in an ergonomic institution or organization or an industrial company or in an office. Okay, so these are some posture I have shown in the picture, like reaching overhead activity, then kneeling and bending from the waist level. Okay, and bending his neck for prolonged time. Okay, and bending the neck by looking in a mobile also, that will lead to the neck pain or the neck pain. And these are the last is the reaching activity, like overhead activity, like whenever do any overhead activity or reach out position. So that may lead to pain or ache in the shoulder or the neck area. So these are some faulty postures where usually we find in the institution or an company. So some more faulty postures, doing his or her task in a wrong manner, and due to that wrong manner, or if the worker is working in or an employee working in a wrong way, definitely he will experience pain and aches on his body part. And as I told you, like ergonomic is a not much a rocket science. So a simple logic can be applied. So here are some examples which I have shown you where you can apply your simple logic science. Okay. So here a sonography is been done by a doctor. So in first picture, yeah, that lady doctor, she is extending her hand and doing the work, doing the task. And in second picture, if that same hand has been decreased in lengthwise and working in a comfortable manner and decreasing the height of the monitor, so that will lead to her comfortness and the she can able to do the task easily. So here no rocket science is been used. So it's a very simple logically we can able to implement. No need to do any evaluation or no need to do any assessment for this simple task. So simple logic can be used. Okay. In the second picture, the person is dangling his legs in the air. So and the correction, how you can correct that, instead of dangling the legs in the air, ask the person to shift on the edge of the bed and keep the legs on the foot base of the foot ground level, and that another leg should be kept on the stool or on some object, so that both the legs should be supported on the ground. As I told you, like yesterday, the pushing is more preferable than a pulling area. So before doing this task, we need to clear the area or the clutters found on the ground surface level, instead of to prevent the frequent falls. So always pushing is mandatory if you want to propagate from one place to another place. And the second thing is the area should be clear. There's a third picture where the lady is extending her hand and typing or doing some task on a computer. Okay, instead of that extending our hands, we can correct it, like either we have to bring nearby to bring back our hands by nearby to the body, or we can bring the whole machinery nearby to our body. So either one we can do to to increase the comfortness of the person. So this analyzing task, like yesterday I also have taken this methods, like how to analyze the methods. So I'll have a glimpse of yesterday's topic. Like we need to know how much pose is involved in each body posture, how often it is repeated, how long it is held, or how often it is total task repeated, how long the task is worked. So ergonomic problem deals with all these aspects before jumping to an assessment part. we need to have some looks on the ergonomic method. Yeah, like yesterday, how I told you, like how if a twisting or bending of the wrist is done, so effect on median nerve passing through the carpal tunnel, which can lead to carpal tunnel syndrome. And that's the best example. If you are holding our mouse or keeping our mouse in a one static posture, okay, if an person, if an IT employee is using a mouse and keeping the wrist on the firm surface and just moving his wrist, inward ulnar deviation or lateral deviation, because of that deviation, he will put pressure on the base of the wrist joint, and that base of the wrist joint will definitely lead to pain and ache, and that pain and ache will lead to some blanching or red spot on the base of the wrist. So because of that spot, it will compress the nerve, the median nerve which is passing on the base of the wrist. That compression of the median nerve will lead to carpal tunnel syndrome. Next comes the repetitive hand and wrist motion. Effects of tendon passing through the carpal tunnel, which can lead to tendinitis. Okay. So first of all, the carpal tunnel comes into picture. Then, if the rubbing and wear and tear of the particular tendon is happening, so it will lead to inflammation of the particular tendon. Third comes the vibration. Vibration, as I told you like yesterday, like wherever we are drilling the holes on the walls or drilling the ground level, there is a constant pressure we are applying on the machinery part. Because of that constant pressure, the Raynaud disease, Raynaud's phenomena happens in our blood circulation. It will affect our body part. Uh, Fourth one is pinch grip. Like if we are exceeding a 3 kgs per, if we are just pinching any object, and our task is to do any minor activity. If we have to pinch that object and we need to hold and keep it in a very minor activity with the screwdrivers or holding a doing any small or jewelry shop. So very minor activity which a pinch graph has been used. So if the pinch graph is more than 3 kg and if we have to lift and keep it, so it will affect our hand muscles. So pinch graph should always be less than 7 lbs or 3 kg. Okay. So constant use of hands and fingers. These are some pictures I have shown, like different kind of graphs we can use. We can have some power graphs, then hook graph, then pinch graph, and a contact stress. Contact stress. Okay. So if we are holding any object with a hook graph, whichever graphs we are using, we need to wear some hand gloves before proceeding further to avoid the cuts on the hand. Uh, uh, Recognizing the ergonomic problem, like if the person is doing a drilling or some uh, inserting a nail on the wall. So in the first picture I have shown, like if the person is extending his hand and he is going away from his base of support and he's doing the work. Okay, so how we can correct, like we can able to use some particular tools that are available where we can extend the uh, length of the drilling machine and we can able to do the task in a normal way. The effect will be same in the first picture and the second picture, but in second picture it will be more comfortness. Bending and twisting. So as I told you like yesterday, if the base of support is away from our body, okay, so we are chance of there to fall and we chance of that to injure our body. So instead of that, we need to keep that base of support nearby to the body, and the center of gravity should be nearby to the body of the object which you are holding. Okay, we need to analyze the weight of the body, and we need to have some idea. Okay, I need to go from I need to walk for 5 meters or 10 meters or 1 kilometer. We need to have some idea or judgment in our mind. Then if your mind is ready, then we can propagate the uh, task and we need to walk to the destination area. So always you need to bend from the back, not sorry, always you need to bend from the knee area, then the back area, because if you are directly bending our back, it chance of getting injury to our back muscles are there. So always you need to bend from the knee area, and the center of gravity should be nearby to the body. So this is where I have stopped it yesterday. like a scales, checklist software is used to diagnose WRMSD. WRMSD is also known as work-related musculoskeletal disorders. The disorders which are caused to any work or profession, it is known as WRMSD. Okay. So here I have stopped it yesterday. So from here I will continue today. Like in upper, there are some particular scales, standard scales coming under OSHA guidelines. Okay, so under OSHA guidelines, whatever uh, these all scales which I have mentioned here are the scales used to measure our body surface area, or wherever the repetitive actions are happening, whether it is pushing, pulling, doing minor work, repetitive tasks, or only upper body's involvement, or only the lower body's involvement, or the whole body's involvement, or some strain is happening in our body, or there are a number of scales, but the scales which I have mentioned here are the frequent use, where we use these scales very frequently. Okay, like upper body involvement, if the upper body involvement is present, we are using RULA. RULA in the sense is the mnemonic or rapid upper limb assessment. Entire body involvement, it deals with the REBA. REBA includes like rapid entire body assessment. For repetitive tasks, we use OCRA, Occupational Repetitive Analysis System. Okay. Lifting activity like NIOSH and Snoop table. These are some basic standardized tools where we use to evaluate the lifting technique, how the person is able to lift the weight from the ground, and what is the duration, how much amount of distance the worker is continuing, and whether that injury is happening in that task or not. We need to evaluate under NIOSH lifting technique and a Snoop table. Second comes the push and pull activity that we diagnose by KIM, that's the key indicator method. And risk of hand, wrist, forearm, and elbow are being diagnosed by the strain index scale. Now, strain index scale, it will diagnose the amount of exertion happening in our body posture, or the amount of force we are exerting on our body. So that deals with the strain index scale. So ergonomic assessment tools, like there are four procedures, like process assessment, manual material handling, three online calculators, which I'll be showing you, and computer software for skills. Okay. So first of all, process assessment, like so this is an ergonomic assessment chart which we use for the IT employees, wherever the sitting area is there, sitting and working on a desktop area is there, we are using this chart. So the first left hand side of the chart, the uppermost column, upper left column, the worker or the employee has to fill in the chart. And this coming to the work information, we need to fill that, and the RULA score, and the right side of the chart, whole chart, we need to assess it by looking it carefully, and we by looking it carefully and by evaluating the posture of the person or the worker, we need to fill this chart. And last, the recommendation chart. In the recommendation chart, we need to identify whether the person require any external gadgets or not. There are some many options are given over here, like how much amount of breaks the person is taking, okay, how many amount of water he or she is doing, whether he is doing stretching of the body or not. Accordingly, we need to click it over here, and at the end of the thing, we need to have some recommendation for the particular employee. We need to take a standard signature. So this is the chart where we use in the IT office or an offices where we use computer frequently. There is a computer workstation checklist where the employee or the worker, he doesn't have to do any assessment, but just need to tick yes or no whether whichever skills are applicable in his body, in his work style. So just if he's clicking yes or no, so we will have an idea like, oh, okay, so the person is having the pain or ache on this body part, or whether the external gadgets are lacking. So we need to take an actions accordingly. Okay, in process assessment, I'm dealing with HAL or TLV, REBA, RULA, and strain index. HAL means hand activity level, threshold level, level variations, rapid entire body assessment, rapid upper limb assessment, and a strain index scale. So first of all, the HAL. Okay, I'll be discussing this HAL scale, how to take this HAL scale in my coming slide in detail. Just a brief introduction I'll be giving for HAL scale. Like HAL, it is known as hand activity level. TLV, it is also known as threshold limit value. Okay, so it is one page scale, uh, and it is used for diagnosing the upper extremity analysis for monotask work processes. Okay, inputs like hand activity rating and peak force rating. Okay, output scores, score indicating action is required. So how to take these skills, I'll be discussing in my coming slide. So here on the upper, okay, I will explain in my coming slide. Next comes the rapid entire body assessment, that is also known as REBA skill. Okay, it is developed by Mac Atmini at the University of Nottingham, UK. Okay, it's also one page length. Okay, and job and a quick process assessment of ergonomic risk and of the entire body has been diagnosed by the REBA scale. Okay, observation rating for the posture and the force has been documented. Scores from the forms of a lookup table, and the output, like if we are, I'll be showing the diagram of how we are taking in REBA scale. Okay, on the scores I'll be describing, like if that is a score is coming 1, then the posture is or the workforce or the amount of uh, proportion of the body is very negligible. If the person is coming like between 2 to 3, the amount of force is very low. Okay, if it is coming 4 to 7, it is medium. If it is coming 8, between 8 to 10, it is very high. Okay, and uh, beyond 15, it is going very high level. So this is a chart where we use for the REBA skill. Okay. So this is a chart. This is a manual chart where we need to calculate each and every things manually. But I'll be showing you on softwares also for how we are saving the time and our energy to get a final score. So this is a manually done chart. That's a glimpse of the chart I will be showing, like manually done, where we use REBA scale. Next comes the rapid upper limb assessment. That's called RULA skill. It is developed by Mac Atmini at the University of Nottingham, UK. It is also one page length of the scale. It is used for diagnose for the upper limb assessment. Like only injury happening on the upper body part can be assessed by the RULA skill. Inputs like observed rating for the posture and force, same like REBA skills, scores from the lookup tables. Okay, and the outputs are like how we are getting any injury is very harmful, or whether it is what is the risk of the injury by the scale. Like if the rating is coming between 1 to 2, the it is acceptable posture or nothing can be done, no improvement, no, there is no negative indication. If the rating is coming between 3 to 4, investigate further. You need to investigate in a other manner. If the rating is coming between 5 to 6, okay, then we need to further investigate and change should be applied as soon as possible. If it is coming 7, red mark area, investigate further and change it immediately. So the person is very risky at that particular rating. So 7 is the most dangerous rating, and 1 or 2 is very acceptable or very minimal green signal. There is a chart where we use the RULA scales, like the RULA and the REBA both are different. You can have a look. This is the REBA one, and this is the RULA one. So RULA means this is a manually calculated, where we use manually, where we just correlate with the numbers over here, and we are crossing it, and we are diagnosing like wherever the colorful indicates the sum of the total area, total numbers. Okay, so at the middle of this score, there's a final score. You can see down in the blue section. So that final score indicates the total, whether the person is as I told you, like output, whether it is 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 to 6 or 7. So that 1 or 2 will comes under this final score area. So that score indicate whether we need to take an action or not. Okay, so whenever we are having any issue, or whenever we are having any profile in any profession, if we are just going to an assessment area, if the upper body's involvement, we are using this ruler scale. In an IT office or an IT employee, we are using a ruler scale instead of REBA scale. It is more frequently used. It is a Morgan-Gurk strain index scale. Okay. So here, as I told you, like we are just a very minor, very accurately, we are using this strain index scale. Separately, how we are saving our time for this Rula, REBA, strain index scale, and HL activity. I will show some softwares also. So how we are saving our time and energy by is a manually task done for each and everything. I'll be doing. I'll be using a software. Okay, so if you are using a software, it will save our time and energy, and it will give the correct value as well. Okay, strain index. It is developed by Moore and Gurk. Okay, it's also one length page. Okay, assessment of wrist to hands and wrist are being inputted in this chart. Wherever the strain is happening in the wrist and hands area, so this scale will diagnose only the strain happening on the hands, on the smaller area. It doesn't include the repetition. It will help to diagnose the exertion happening on the smaller muscles of hand, the duration of exertion, efforts per minute of wrist or hand posture, speed of work, and duration of task per day. So it doesn't deal with the repetition. Wherever the repetitions are happening, we are using Okra scale, OCRA, Okra scale. Wherever the strain are happening in the body part or majorly in the hand or the wrist, we are using a strain index scale. And the output, like how we are using this output, like if the ratio is coming below 3, it is safe. If the ratio is coming between 3 to 5, it is very uncertain. Okay, if the ratio is coming between 5 to 7, there is some chance of risk present. And if the ratio is coming above 7, it is very hazardous. The work or the task the person is doing is very risky. Next comes the manual material handling. Okay, the agenda, like comparing ergonomic assessment tools and which tool is right for my situation. So first of all, the comparing different kind of ergonomic assessment tools. In manual material handling, like if you are doing any assessment in an industrial area or in an factory area, so these all tools we are implementing. So before I have shown you like REBA, RULA, HAL, and other skills like for implementing the office area, and the manual material handling is been used for implementing these skills in the industrial area or some factory area. So first scale is Liberty Mutual manual material handling tables. Second is NIOSH lifting equation. Third one is Ohio PWC lifting guidelines. And fourth one is Washington state lifting calculators, and many others we are using. Okay. So among these, the NIOSH lifting technique and Liberty Mutual manual material handling tables we are using. In the NIOSH lifting, in the Liberty Mutual manual material handling table, it is developed by Stover Snook. Okay. It is a length of many tables are present. It is not a one page. There are n number of tables formed in a tabular form. Okay. It uses for evaluation for pushing and pulling activity. Okay. Inputs multiple input for genders, activity, work, height, etc. The output of percentile of population are protected. Is link I have given you to have some look on the that's a PDF in a PDF form, so you can have a better idea. You can have an idea of how what is a Liberty manual material handling table. Is a NIOSH lifting equation versus revised NIOSH lifting equation. Difference between that both are in a simple NIOSH lifting equation. Okay, we are just doing the evaluation. The softwares are also available online where we can save our time and energy. But the difference for the NIOSH as well as for revised NIOSH, both for both the things softwares are available. But the main difference is the time and energy. Though we are using software in NIOSH lifting equation, we are just spending 10 to 15 minutes just for one worker. If we want to evaluate a worker is lifting the object in a particular way or whether the posture is wrong or right, and if you are implementing this NIOSH lifting equation in the particular worker, okay. So first of all, it's a time consuming. It will take 10 to 15 minutes, normally half an hour to just evaluate how was the force, how was the posture, whether the person force exerted properly or not on the body. So it takes nearly half an hour to evaluate one person. Just imagine how many workers are working in a company. Okay, so if there are 100 workers working in a company, so just for 100 worker, if you calculate each worker half an hour, so it will goes like into the whole day or number of hours will be more to calculate the risk area. So instead, then comes the revised NIOSH lifting equation, where where we can able to do n number of calculation within 5 to 10 minutes with the help of software. Though it is the NIOSH lifting and it is done with the software, but then also it will take much time to input the uh, values in the particular software. In device neo shifting, we are using 5 minutes to calculate n number of employees. If the workers are 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, or more than 5,000, then also we don't have to worry for the time limit. Within 5 to 10 minutes, we can able to give the report to the particular supervisor or the manager, giving using the NIOSH revised lifting technique. So that's the save of our time and energy, and the process is also very fast. It is developed by National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. Okay, that's the one-line page of evaluation tool. Okay, it is used for evaluation of manual lifting tasks. So wherever we are lifting it manually, it will evaluate whether the lifting, twisting of the body, wherever twisting and lifting the area comes. So we are implementing this NIOSH lifting technique. A third part, like free online calculators. Okay, these are free online calculators which are available online. So links I have shared you. There are different kind of free online calculators where we can use these calculators and we can able to identify the risk factors like airborne engineers like work height calculators and NIOSH lifting equations. Okay, Ohio BWC lifting guidelines, OSHA injury cost calculator, Auburn engineers including work height calculator. There are some links I have shared you so that you can have a look. Now, which tool is right for my situation? Okay, so there are some different. As I told you, REBA is used for entire body, RULA is used for only the upper limb. So there are some different criteria where different tools or different softwares we are using or different skills we are using for different body area or the force is exerted, whether the number of repetition task is there or not. So depending upon the work style, we are using the particular skill. So like for process assessment, like which tools have been used on which body part and what is the number of the pages. So I have shown elaborately over here. Like if you are using hand activity level, that signifies only the activity which is done on the upper body part. Okay. The quick exposure checklist like QECV we are using for the entire body. So it's just a checklist. Just need to have a check mark on the things available. It's just a checklist area. Next comes the rapid entire body assessment that can be done on our entire body. RULA, which is done on upper body only. Speed index that can be used for the exertion of the exertion only on the upper extremity. Then next comes Washington State Department of Labor and Industries Caution Zone Checklist that rules out the entire body assessment. Then Washington State Department of Labor and Industrial Hazardous Zone job checklist can be done in the entire body assessment. That can be there are two kind of variations, whether we are using a smaller scale or a larger scale. Washington State Department of Labor and Industrial Caution Zone checklist. For manual materialing tasks like Liberty Mutual manual materialing handling tables can be used only if the task is been involved like pushing, pulling, lifting, and lowering. Okay, and a Snoop table also we can use this for pushing and pulling. Snoop tables also can be used over here. Notes in the notes it is mentioned consider genders, because if we are pushing and lifting or lowering anything, there is some ratios between males and females, like how much amount of male should able to lift the particular weight, or if the female worker is there, how much amount of weight is there. Is there some particular guidelines on the OSHA guidelines, like there is a weight comment, like how much amount of work he or she can able to lift or lower the weight. Next, the MSC. Okay, that's used for the lifting, carrying, teamwork, or the lift. Okay, and consider team lift. Okay, if the number of we are taking any help for any assistance, it indicates the team lift. So if we are taking any assessment or assistance from another person, then we are using MS. NIOSH lifting equation. Okay, it is definitely done for the lifting equations only. So multitask analysis complex can be used for the NIOSH lifting equation. So better than NIOSH lifting equation, we are using a revised version. Okay, instead of just conservatively we are using NIOSH lifting, we are using a revised version of NIOSH lifting equation. Next one is Ohio BWC lifting table. All these softwares which we are using are particularly for lifting things. So as I told you, like I'll be discussing more in details, like what is the HAL. It's HAL scale. Okay, it particularly deals with the upper body. Okay, HAL indicates hand activity level. Particularly on the hand and the wrist can be implemented this scale. Okay, so American Conference of Government Industrial Hygienists. Okay, that's also known as ACGIH. Threshold limit value, that's called a TLV, or hand activity level, that's called HAL. It's offered in 2001, offered for the evaluation of job risk factors associated with musculoskeletal disorders of the hand and the wrist. The evaluation is based on assessment of hand activity and the level of effort for a typical posture while performing a short cycle task. Got it? So evaluation has been based on assessment of hand activity level only. Okay, and the typical posture he or she is maintaining while doing the task. The hand activity level HAL characterized repetition on a scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is completely ideal and 10 is somewhat risky number. The second step is to characterize the effort level by noting the effort associated with the typically high force within the cycle of work. Okay, the normalized peak force, that's also known as NPF, is the relative level of effort on a scale of between 0 to 10 that a person of an average strength would exert in the same posture required by the task. Okay, and the third one is like three methods are suggested for assessing NPF, noting the measured percentage of maximum voluntary contraction and subjective reports of the perceived exertion. Okay, so basically it's a subjective skill, not an objective skill, and an observation method borrowed from a strain index skill. Okay, so the third step is to locate the combination of HAL and NPF on the following TLV graph. Now, how we are doing, I'll be describing in this now. Here. So here you can have a look, like first the name, company name, uh, ID number, and the basic information of the employee or the task in field on the topmost part. Okay, in the hand activity uh, continuum, we have to circle like how we are taking visual analog skill, VAS skill. Same manner, between 0 to 10. Here the numbers are given from left to right side. So the employee or the worker has to circle the, and below the each and every number, some different levels of different, whether 0 indicates the hand is very neutral posture, no pressure is coming on any body part. 1 and 10 indicates the posture is very irregular and the risk hazard is very tremendous in this 10 area. So as it is subjective skill, the worker has to circle only he has to circle the number. According to, he has to read the description downward and he has to circle the number. And Borg scoring, like, so for Borg scoring, we need to do an average score, like the worker or the employee has to give the ratings over here between 0 to 10 area. And HL TLV scoring third part. Okay, so here the vertical, it is shown as NPF, and the horizontal and downward part is shown as hand activity level. Okay, so in the first hand activity level, if the person is having 4 number, okay, so for 4 number, if we are just writing HL activity in the 4th number, okay, means here on the horizontal area, we are considering 4 number, and in the board scoring, he got the let's take 8 number. Okay, so 4 will match to 8 level. If we go straight way longitudinally upward direction, and if we are just matching the 8 way on a horizontal area, so that color indicates very red area. So that red area indicates that TLV area, threshold level value. So if the, so depending upon the green, yellow, and red area, the scoring has been marked in a result area, in a downward bottommost part. Okay, so if the score is coming between red area, it is very hazardous, and the type of work the person is doing is very risky area. If the score is coming between the yellow area, between this yellow area or the greenery area, so that indicates the level of the work is very minimal. So depending upon the color indication over here, we can able to have an idea whether the particular task is been risky or not. So that's how we use the HL scoring sheet. So that's all for today's class or webinar. So yeah, so all of you having any doubt, you can ask by typing in a chat box. So I hope all the skills are been clear.
Thank you, sir, for such a nice webinar. I request the participants, if you have any doubt, you can write the questions in a chat box. Nabil Desai had one question. Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
For further investigation in Rula, what we have to supposed to do and which scale we have to use, Reba or some other scale?
For if you want to evaluate only the upper limb, then and if the upper body involvement, that is only of the waist, and if the trunk and the upper limbs are involvement are present, then definitely we have to go for the Rula scale. And if the repetition of the hand activity level are more, then instead of using Rula scale, we need to go for a Okra scale, OCRA. That indicates the repetitive task, and that also matters. If the strain on the body or on the hand area are there, then we have to use a strain index scale. So all that matters. What kind of activity we are looking for, it's not only for the upper limb, we have to also have a rule out that what kind of work you are looking for, whether you are looking for a repetitive task or whether you are looking for a exertion task, or whether only the static posture has been maintained. If the static posture is being you have to evaluate, just go for ruler scale. If number of repetitions are more, you can go for okra scale. If the strain on the body part is happening, then you can use a strain index scale. Moore and Gerb strain index scale. Thank
Okay, thank you, sir. So we'll wait for 1 more minute. If the participants have doubt, then we
you. Yes,
can
sure.
wait for 1 minute. Yeah. Participants, if you have any doubt or any questions, you can write down in the chat box. I think no questions, sir.
Okay, so I will show one of that online software which I have discussed. That I'll be showing some online softwares like the Rula and Reba. What kind of softwares we are using? I'll be showing her. Hold a second. This software which we are using is for hand activity level. Okay, like instead of can you able to see the software? Is it visible? Okay. So here we are using a software where we are just clicking on the white area and we are selecting the task. We are just inputting the thing thing the task description we are inputting. Okay, and second here frequency per second, how much frequency is there we are inputting over here. Okay, and description of the task, then frequency we are using, duty cycle we are selecting accordingly. This is a software where we use HL software skill. It's a box scale, like whether the scale is between, as I told you, between 0 to 10, whichever number the employee is giving, just you need to click over here to select the particular number, and accordingly you will get a.
Sorry for the interruption, but sir, it is not visible.
Okay. Is it visible, ma'am, now?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So I'll continue once again. So this is a scale software which we use for calculating hand activity level, which I have described you right now, HAL scale. So the yellow indicates the we need to enter the task done, and okay. And as we go down, we need to enter the description of the task. Okay, here frequency we need to select the frequency over here. Okay, the duty cycle, how much percentage we are applying force. Okay, the box scale we can able to select whether the percentage, whether we are doing and for what observation we are using the scale. For box scale we just select the between 0 to 10 level, we need to select the level, and accordingly we have to input our values. So if we are submitting the values, the final peak force and the reference of the force is being generated over here. So that generated score will give the different color, whether it is in weight is in lb or kg. That also options are over here. So this was the HL scale which we use. Next scale I'll be showing you. This one is NIOSH lifting equation. This is a revised NIOSH where we use the, as I told you, like difference between revised NIOSH and the simple version of NIOSH lifting equation. Difference is that only. So in a simple one task, we are able to save the lots of our time and energy just into input the basic details of the employee or the worker over here. Okay, and we are just calculating accordingly. So it saves our time and energy. It is developed by Columbia Danilia, okay, the founder of Device Neo Equation. Next is the push and pull activity. Push and pull activity that's done on the Liberty Mutual tables. You need to enter the job details over here. Note if required. Going to select the number of, whether it is push and pull activities done in meters or in kilometers. You need to select over here. Whether it is done every day or in number of tasks or in a shift wise. Okay, we need to select the effort type, whether it is carried push or pull. Okay, verticals like from vertical push has been like from it is pushed by from the shoulder, high or mid high level. All the description we are implementing over here. So definitely it will give this last result, the percentage acceptable. So these are some percentage acceptable score between man and woman. Okay. So depending upon the percentage coming over here, generating over here, the numbers, we can able to have an idea. Okay, the person has an problem with the pushing or pulling activity. Next one is Reba scale. How we are using this Reba scale as a software online. So like this is a software for the Reba scale. Okay, white indicates we cannot able to change the white numbers, but definitely we can able to change the black one. Okay, suppose let's take the neck is trunk is between 1 to 5. Let's take the trunk position of number 2. So it will change the tabular form from table A and table B, and only the black portion can be changed. The load force can be implemented. The coupling area means a different kind of gadgets or different holding or different methods, different external things which we are using. It's known as coupling area. So for coupling area, it is only measure 0 to 3. So let's take 1. Okay. So in upper arm, how the upper arms we are keeping. So let's take 4. So that generates the table C. Okay. Now for the trunk, for the neck and lower arm, accordingly we have to select the number. So that all together, legs as well as wrist, all together, if we implement, we are seeing the posture on the right and left side, and we are implementing the number, inputting our number. So that all will lead to generate a score between that score will lead to Reva score, and the color down it indicated like yellow, bright yellow, or orange, or a dark. Okay, yellow indicates the risk is very negligible. Red color indicates the risk is very high. Okay, so depending upon the color obtaining or the Reba score at the end of the doing task, if we are able to get an idea, okay, this the task is very risky. So this one was the Reba software. This one is the Rula software. Same like Reba, but it's quite simple than Reba one. Okay, so here the black color we need to select the upper limb. Well, what is the, instead of having a subjective or objective assessment, just we are using this software, we are able to save our time and energy both. Okay, so this also is the fast method. Just click on numbers, just have a look and have a the charge, the sheet which I have showed you before, like what kind of sheet we are using for the upper body assessment here, basically in the IT office. So depending upon if we are clicking on that particular chart and we are just correlating with that chart with the pictures over here, we are able to have an idea. Okay, so depending upon that, we are just clicking on the number over here. We are selecting the number. And at last, we are able to get the final score over here. The arm muscle use, okay, the force, amount of force which are happening on the body part, body posture, muscles use, okay, and the force load and the wrist area. So depending upon that, we can able to get an idea. Okay, so here the body is getting in the risky area. This area of the body is getting in the is a risk. Okay, so this was where the ergonomic softwares which we use to save our time and energy. Okay, so I hope you all are clear with the assessment tools, ergonomic assessment tools. So now I'll be moving to the quiz part. So all of you are clear? Are you clear, all of you? Okay. So I'll be moving to the quiz part now.
I request all the participants to stay online. Sir is sending the link in the chat box. You can click the link and you have to enter your email ID, and then 10 questions will be displayed. You have to write down the answers, tick mark the answers, and submit it online.
Yeah, before answering your question, you need to input your email ID. Then only you can able to submit the answer. And one more thing at the end, if you want a request, if you want a response from, uh, if you have one copy of your response, you can click it on a send a response to yourself, and you can submit the answer. Yeah. So here is the link. You can just click it on the link, and you can type your email ID and start answering the question. There are 10 number of questions.
So the duration is 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's 10 minutes only. So right now it is 4:05. Okay, so at exactly 4:15, I'll be stopping the accepting the answer.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
I request all the participants to play the quiz. And if the answers are incorrect, you can contact sir via mail or via mobile number. Okay.
Yes. So anyone, if you are having any doubt from yesterday's topic or as well as from today's topic, you can definitely contact me via mail, or my phone number is in mention on the slide. You can have a look and you can contact me for any doubt or details if you want.
Participants, if you're done with your quiz, you can write down so we can come to know how many are still remaining. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you all. Have we received 16 responses till now?
Sir, I think participants are done with their quiz.
Yes. Yeah, thank you all. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for such an informative session. I hope everyone thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, I would like to thank and show our gratitude to founder, chairman, and president Shri Jagdish Patel sir, and managing director Honorable Shri Dhruv Patel sir, and joint managing trustee Srimati Kamal Patel ma'am. I would like to thank campus director Srimati Hardi Patel ma'am, our principal Dr. Mehul Jadhav sir, and our vice principal Dr. Sarfraz Nawaz Shah sir, BITS Institute of Physiotherapy. I would also like to thank Avni ma'am, head of Department of Computer, Babarea Institute of Technology for technical support. I would like to thank Gadadada for graphic designs, and lastly to all the faculty members, participants and students for joining the webinar. Thank you a lot once again. Thanks. Have a nice day.
Thank you.